Hello, World of Tank Blitzers. It's Littlefinger. Today I'm doing a full tank review on the SU-100. This is a Russian Tier 6 tank destroyer. You can see it here in the garage. It's got some nice sloped frontal armor. The area around this gun mantlet will get you lots and lots of bounces, so make sure you wiggle if someone is about to shoot at you. The sides and back of this tank do have some nice slopes. You will get a few bounces, but the armor's nothing great. It does have some good mobility, and two gun choices we'll get into here as I go through this review, but they are the 100mm D10S with 7.8 rounds per minute, but only 280 damage, and the 122mm D25S with 4.5 rounds per minute, so that drops significantly, but your average damage does go up to 400. I ran it both ways. I'm going to show videos of both. My preference on this is the 100mm, and I'll get into that in a little more detail. Jumping over to the tech tree, you can see we're in the top left here, the SU-100. And this is a nice splitting point where you've got your choice of the SU-152, ISU-152, up to the Object 268. These tanks are a little bit slower. They have huge guns, and we'll just pull this 152mm M64 on the Object 268, 4 rounds per minute, but 640 in damage. Whereas if you take the SU-100 M1 101 up to the Object 263, you're going to get a tank that is much more mobile, more of a brawling tank, really good angles, a lot of bounces on these tanks, but again, faster rate of fire, less damage. So if we look at the Object 263, it's got a 130mm gun. You've got a rate of fire of 7 rounds per minute, but only an average damage of 460. So that's your choice there. The top line is going to be bigger gun, more damage, slower rate of fire, and then the bottom tier there, the SU-100 M1 up, is going to be a faster firing, lower damage, more of a brawling type of tank. So depends how you like to play. Real quick into consumables: repair kit, multi-purpose, adrenaline, provisions, improved fuel, protective kit, and then rations. As far as ammunition goes, you can see I'm running 24 rounds of AP, 13 rounds of APCR. Needed a little bit more with the smaller gun, which is why we've got that loadout. And of course, you can purchase your AP there with changing that shell price button to silver. Just a few rounds, 7 rounds of HE for any lights that we might encounter. Equipment: this is update 5.0, so they have removed spare parts and also done away with the timer. Thank you, Wargaming. You can now buy a tank and fully equip it all in the same time. So with the smaller gun, I am running calibrated shells. With the bigger gun, I would choose the gun rammer and get that rate of fire up a little bit. Moving on to vitality, I am running defense system, camouflage net, and moving down to the second tier, enhanced gun lane drive, I am running the enhanced armor. I didn't really feel that 55 hit points was enough. From the front, you get some nice bounces, so I figured I would increase that strength a little bit. As far as improved control, basically as a TD, you're only getting an improvement to your traverse speed, so it's going to bump us up to 48, whereas with the engine accelerator, you're going to get that acceleration and power to drive up the hill, as well as improve the traverse speed, but only to 46. So I felt like the benefit here was with the engine accelerator. Also with a TD, you're not really going to be doing too much shooting on the move, so I've gone with the refined gun, get that dispersion down, and really think it makes a big difference, and I'll show you some long distance shots with this gun. I'm not really going to spend any money on the next two sets here. It's really your decision. So if you look at consumable delivery system, if you use two if you use, it depends on what you use. If you're using adrenaline and an engine boost, it depends on how you set that up. But I would be running the consumable delivery system if I wanted to spend that 133K in silver. All right, guys, here is blitzstars.com tank compare. I've got the SU-100 with the 122 millimeter on the left. Next to it is my recommendation of the 100 millimeter, and you can see right off the bat damage per minute is almost 400 higher. Now, we've talked in the past that damage per minute isn't the end all be all. I just feel like with the 122 millimeter, there is too much penalty in missing your shot because of the long reload, and you're really heavily penalized when you do miss a shot. Whereas in the 100 millimeter, you can miss a shot, and it's not going to impact the game too much. So I just feel like this is an overall better tank, easier to brawl in, which is what I like to do. And then obviously to the right, we've got the other non-turreted TDs. And you can see if penetration were better than most of these other tanks. Really, you can look at all of these stats, and you can see that a 2.2 second aim time on the 122 is the worst there. We do get a little bit better with the 100, but both of them are still worst in the class. Their dispersion also is pretty bad. So, like I said, it's going to lead to you missing shots, and if you've got a really long reload time, it really does impact you. -6 degrees on gun depression. Certainly very workable. We do have good speed here at 50 kilometers per hour. It's faster than these other non-turreted tanks. And we do have good terrain resistance there at 1.1 on hard surfaces. So, take that what you will. And I'll talk a little bit more about these guns as we get into some gameplay. Alright, guys. So here's the first game I'm going to show you on Lost Temple, bottom tier. This is with the 122 millimeter gun. You can tell the difference by looking at the end of the gun here, and it flares out. So if you see another tank of this type, you'll know it's got the big gun by that feature. So we're going to pull up to the rock here, expecting someone to go up to the temple, and I do take a blind shot, hoping to get lucky on that KV-1S. And you can see this long reload time. And this is when I start to get a little lag. The ping gets real high. I'm on vacation at this point in time using hotel Wi-Fi. So anyway, we get a nice shot there into the KV-1S as he's turning that turret around, and we can shoot into the side cheek. Again, ping's getting up here again, 400. And this is a pretty good position for TD to be in, because you can get shots like on this VK. Again, 415 damage. It's a nice roll. One of the things I found with this gun was there's a big difference in rolls that you could get. So it's been pretty accurate there, but you can see 373, so almost 30 off that 400 average damage. And I had rolls in like 350 range, so I'm gonna go ahead and finish that VK off for our first kill. The SU-100Y is pushing around there, but I can see that we've got some guys down here all mingling close to the flag, so we take that shot. It's kind of lucky, I think, I wasn't sure that I was aimed at a target, but we get our second kill there. And there's the AT again on the side, 372, nice damage. So 4-on-4, it's a pretty close game. I know that SU-100Y is out there by himself, and this is where I make the biggest decision, the wrong decision actually, to go ahead and trade shots with the SU. As you can see, I lost 650 damage with that shot. putting me basically close to a one-shot with most of these other tanks outside of that Predator remaining. So now we're 2-on-2, and the game has gotten pretty exciting now. Little did I know this KV-1S was not the best player in the world, but I'm waiting for him to go and spot these guys up and draw some fire. So I'm hoping I can swing around the other side here and get a shot in. And I don't know if that was lag or what, but obviously that shot did not go where I wanted it. We could have finished off that KV-1S, and I think this game would have turned out probably a little bit differently. Again, you can see how late that shot was coming out of the gun, so getting a little frustrated. Telling the guy that I'm playing with here I've got a little bit of lag issue. But again, we're going to be patient, wait on that long reload, 12.4 seconds, and see if we can't get a mistake from one of these two players. Obviously, that's a Galaxy in the Predator there, so we know he's a good player. We finish off the KV-1S, and the Predator finishes off my KV. So I've got him from behind, and I'm thinking I can get a nice HE shot into the back and only do 82 damage. Now obviously he's got an autoloader with 3 shots, and so we're playing a little game of Ring Around the Roses here. He falls off and shoots up into the air. It's kind of funny, the comment that comes in from one of his teammates here in a second. But yeah, so 8 hit points left. I am definitely a one-shot. And had I used AP on that first round, I would have just only needed one shot to finish him off. So some of these decisions I made in this game turn out to be the wrong ones, especially taking that 650 hit points from the SU-100Y. So eventually here he's going to stop and back up. I mean, I don't know why he doesn't, because he's got plenty more hit points than I can finish him off. But there's the first sign there of that hitting that gun mantlet and the bounces you're going to get. First two hit the mantlet and bounce. The third shot he finishes me off. But we ended up doing 2792 in damage, 5 kills. It was good enough for a mastery badge, but we didn't end up on the right side of the win column there. So now you're probably saying, well, what's wrong with that gun? So here we are on Canyon, and again, bottom tier with the 122 millimeter gun, and you'll start to see some of the frustrations that I have with it. So the key to this map is having your mediums or lights go to the middle and spot the entire map. And you can see our VK perhaps maybe a little bit reluctantly decides to head that way. But it's really critical on this map. So I'm just sitting in the background here waiting to see how this game develops. I don't want to get myself into a situation where I'm out of position. And you can see they've pushed all the way around, and we take that first shot and it misses on the side of a medium tank. So issue number one obviously is some of these bounces you're going to get in it. Issue number two is the lack of accuracy, and the third and final, and you'll see that at the end of this game, is the reload time. But anyway, the game progresses here, and they're kind of all around me. So we get almost 400 damage on that shot, which is right at average. But you can see the Sentinel can reload twice and do just as much damage and get away before I can even reload. He's got some tanks on him that way, just waiting to see if he is going to come around the building, and he gets finished off. So we're going to turn our attention to the KV-1S here, and it looks like we can penetrate right there onto the side of the gun, but nope, that's going to be another bounce. So now we'll go into the front plate there and get just over 400. Now here's what I was talking about at the intro. Make sure if someone's about to shoot at you, you are wiggling back and forth. You can see that that shot just bounced, and we finish him off for our first kill. We are up a tank at this point in time. Can see the top of this KV-1S, but again, waiting on that long reload, and our patience pays off with our second kill. Black Prince coming around here, showing us our side. Get another nice roll in there, 400, just above average. So now I'm going to push around the building and go help this guy. Obviously, the other SU-100 was sitting there in the middle. Into the side, 428, really nice roll. And I make another critical mistake here and shoot this one into the side track, and we don't get any damage. We just track him. And of course, he's going to get a couple shots into us before I can reload. As a matter of fact, he gets 3 shots into me. So now I'm a one-shot. The SU's a one-shot. He's just shot. I am well reloaded, so I'm thinking he's going to be on a long reload, come around the corner, only to find out he has the 100mm gun and has reloaded already. So yeah, obviously reload time is a big issue with this gun. 2,192 damage, 3 kills. But yet again, another loss. So I think those 2 games give you an example of what it takes to be a super unicum. Obviously, that's not me. You don't make those mistakes. A super unicum can basically carry just about any game they're in. And I made mistakes that cost me the game. Yeah, I was top damage in all of those games, but I didn't do enough to carry. So keeping that in mind, this is my second game after switching yesterday to the 100mm gun. I think that shot must have gone under the Leopard. But anyway, Black Goldville here, and looks like most of our team is sitting in or close to the cap. What a wonderful strategy. Our 2 lights kind of went off up into the cave area. One of them is already dead, and so I made the decision to kind of go through the middle. Seeing that they're all near the caves or that high ground, I've decided to come along the road here. And the reason I put this game in is not because of the amazing damage or the great gameplay, but I get into a one-on-one situation with another SU-100, and this time I have the smaller gun, he has the bigger gun, and it's kind of interesting to see how that plays out. So tier 5 tank, the Crusader there, bounces a shot most likely off that mantlet again, so gonna get a fair amount of bounces that you don't expect. So anyway, we're coming up on the SU-100 and missed that shot badly, but anyway, it gets us the opportunity to have a really good one-on-one shootout with him. So I take a shot there with the Kuro, and you can see 320 in damage. That's not far off of what I was getting on a low roll on the top gun there, the 122. So we get that first shot to go in. He takes his time and aims at his shot, and we get a second shot in there. We get a third shot in there at 311 damage, which is not far off of what this gun can do. So you can see I got the first shot off, and then very quickly he shot, and we were able to get 2 more shots off in the amount of time that he could reload. So you know, in brawling situations, I think it's better to have a tank that does a medium amount of damage but has a much faster reload than a tank that you got to wait a long time to reload, and chances are you might not need 400, 500 damage to finish the tank off. You might only need 10. So, again, you can see the number of bounces that we've gotten in this game. We ended up with 2 kills. Somehow our team put that together, even though their strategy was a little weak. I think the Reds split up as well. So, you can see here 1542 in damage, 2 kills. Not great there in the experience, but we had looked like 3 shots that bounced. So that was my second game, and this was my third game. Port Bay, top tier, and we are going to go left. Now there's not a lot of TD spots on any of these maps. You've got to be a little bit creative. This spot is a spot that I don't normally use, but I noticed that our team really wasn't pushing the left side too heavily. So again, going to use this strategy and a TD of conserving hit points early on, and then kind of brawling a little bit later when we can hit point trade. So we're spotted after taking that first shot. So since I was almost close to being reloaded, I decided I would stay on top of this hill, take my shot, and back up. Unfortunately, we bounced off the side of that KV. Now I'm a little bit higher on the hill, and I don't quite have the gun depression I would like. But again, being patient, and we get that nice long shot at 215 meters into the side of the turret on the KV. So now I'm going to have to kind of crest over this a little bit more dangerous. 280 on that, and I think we're not spotted at this point. I've got my cargo net out, and we'll finish him off. So the guys up top there are making short work of our team. You know, and I've learned over the years not to go and help that Chino. He was in a bad spot. I would have just put myself in an equally bad spot. So, gonna let this Churchill get a little bit too aggressive and get himself down into the river. I can get down here because the other guys are still up there on the hill. And you notice now with the Churchill, another fast reloading gun, he only gets 1 shot in, and not 3, like in that previous game with the Black Prince. But anyway, it's looking pretty fair, except I don't know if you've noticed, we have got a T1 that has gone to a spot on the map and hasn't moved. So it's really just the 3 of us over here against their 4 tanks. Again, trying to be as patient as possible. You know, one of the keys is letting the other team make the mistake. And so here comes their M6, and we're going to get a shot in on him. All the dead people on the team now are starting to complain about the T1 because it's just me and the T1, and he hasn't moved. You can see him back there. So it's really me on 3 tanks at this point in time. I figure that he's AFK. Finish. They're still railing on him. So 3 kills at this point in time. Can we get just enough to shoot the top of the SU? Doesn't look so. So we're going to continue to push. We know that M6 is around here. And missed that shot. A little disappointing. But we did rush it a little bit. So I want to get up the hill before I get shot again. Hoping to get this SU out of the game. And his he misses. He rushed that shot. And so now I can just hit point trade with the M6 at this point in time, who is for some reason shooting HE at me. So we get that first one in, and he gets the second one, and we get 60 damage. And we ended up with 5 kills, 2,800 in damage. That was good for a mastery badge. So, you know, put this game together, my third game after changing to the 100mm gun. Found it to be very accurate, more accurate so than the 122, and obviously allows me to put out games a little bit more in the favor of my playstyle. So this wasn't a particularly exciting game, but it was a dead rail. Our team all went left, and I kind of just stayed up here in the typical TD spot in this bush. And you can see here we get a shot on that KV from far away. That ARL is just peeking over the top of this building, and we hit his gun mantlet on that first shot. You'll see this is 493 meters away, and getting this shot to go in. He's going to start moving behind this rock, and unfortunately that shot was a little bit off. But again, he is going to poke around the other side, 465 meters, and you finish it off like that. So I much preferred the 100mm gun. I felt it to be more accurate. I liked the faster reload. Yeah, it would be nice if the damage was a little bit higher, but you know, you can certainly get into brawling situations and hit point and trade a lot easier in that than you can with the much lower reloading, higher damage 122mm guns.